educate, encourage, enable the power. We stand for integrity, honesty, self-reliance, self-defense, and most importantly, no compromise on our foundational principles. This is America's Voice Now.
Find America's Voice Now on Facebook and at americasvoicenow.org. Here's Michael Evans.
Good morning, America. You're listening to America's Voice Now. My name is Michael Evans. I'll be your host this morning. I'd like to bring you up to speed on a couple of issues that are paramount, that are happening daily in our nation, that are really critical to the future of the restoration, or at least the continuance of our republic. The Senate last night came out with their statement that the Gang of Eight has done it. My gracious, the Gang of Eight strikes a border deal. Aren't we all happy? Well, the only cheering, dancing in the streets is coming from the illegal immigrant population and their relatives inside the United States. Because this, ladies and gentlemen, is the death knell of our republic. Who is the Gang of Eight to decide and determine on the behalf of 315 million Americans that they're going to shove this thing down our throats with a plunger? Well, it's 4 Republicans, 4 Democrats, all of them traitors. Marco Rubio, watched him last night. What a joke. This was at one point the conservative hope? Please. This guy will do anything for a few seconds on a news spot, and the ability to claim when he runs for president, which he's not qualified for because he's not a natural-born U.S. citizen. This is the kind of guy that will do whatever he needs to do to try to give himself ammunition to sit there and say, I performed the immigration resolution. John McCain, traitor extraordinaire. I wouldn't let John McCain walk my dog. Lindsey Graham, lipstick on a pig Lindsey. This is the same Lindsey Graham that came out not so long ago and said, I'm not sure the First Amendment applies to bloggers. We know what he thinks of the Constitution and the Bill of Rights. I mean, if Lindsey Graham was on fire, I wouldn't spill my beer to help put him out. The guy is a shame, a disgrace to America. Jeff Flake, another Arizonan. Why did we get a Floridian, 2 Arizonans, and a South Carolinian on the Gang of Eight from the Republican side? I don't know. I would imagine that John McCain and Jeff Flake are pal, buddy, because they're in the same darn state. That's representative of the United States of America? Really? Come on. 4 Democrats. Chuck Schumer. You know, this guy has been in the Senate so long betraying American principles and concepts that, I mean, his middle name is treason. Bob Menendez. Bobby Sox Bob. Bob is the guy who has been working hard to betray his own state for, 20 some odd years now. And he's the same guy who takes millions and millions of dollars from this dentist down in Florida, and they're buddy flying around the world in this guy's private plane, hooking up with some young girls down in the Dominican. You know, hey, let's just go have some parties. Michael Bennett from Colorado, who you hear virtually nothing from. But we also know that Colorado just passed one of the most draconian gun bills in the United States of America. That tells me a lot about Michael Bennett. And Dick Durbin from Illinois. Dick Turban, I think, is his probably a more appropriate name. They're touting this thing as if it's the greatest thing since canned peas and sliced bread. From ABC News. Early Thursday morning, the bipartisan, I want everybody to flip your critical thinking switch now for a moment. Turn yourself on, let that engine warm up a moment. Here comes the critical thinking moments. Everybody's engine purring, here we go. Early Thursday morning, the bipartisan Gang of Eight, senators will announce an agreement to strengthen border security. So we're supposed to accept blindly that 8 traitors can negotiate for an entire nation, regardless of the fact that there are 100 senators, not just 8, and 435 members of the House. ABC News has confirmed that the Senate Gang of Eight, quote, and they put it in quotes like this is like, you know, that we're supposed to give these guys some special deference. Special defecant is probably more reality. ABC News confirmed the Senate Gang of Eight has reached an agreement to strengthen border security provisions in their bill that they hope will deliver the 70 crucial votes needed for the measure. Here's the deal. This is the long and the short of immigration. No immigration until the borders are verifiably sealed and all illegals have registered. You have a period of registration. Once that period has expired, any illegal caught here in the United States is subject to immediate ejection. That's it. No argument, no nonsense. Stop with the fence, because you hear that Mexican lawyer on Fox News coming on all the time. Well, if you build a higher fence, they just build longer ladders or deeper tunnels. Okay, I got a resolution for that. How about a 250-foot or 250-yard buffer with a fence on either side, lined with mines? Case closed. That's what other countries do with their border, and there's no reason why we cannot do it with ours. Lined with mines. Yes, this is life or death. The life or death of our republic. The life or death of the concept of a democratic republic, because this will skew the voting panel, the voting ratios so severely towards the Democratic or liberal side that there is no hope whatsoever that conservatives will ever have a voice again. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is a tragedy. The bill was debated this week on the Senate floor, yet Harry the Traitor Reid refused repeatedly to allow amendments into the bill that would demand that border security be instituted first. He wants the bill passed and amnesty granted first, then we'll talk about a border fence. Well, guess what? We've been down this road before. We went down this road with Reagan, who was supposed to have the old phrase of trust but verify. Well, guess what? He trusted, there was no verification, and we ended up, here we are, 30-some-odd years later, having the same damn discussion all over again. Except this time it's not 8 million illegals, it's now 20 million illegals, with a real number of probably closer to 50. And that's not my estimate, that's estimates from experts who have looked at this, because their attitude is, and the way that this thing is drafted, it's not just limited to the illegal. It's the illegal plus whoever else he can drag over here in his wake. I mean, it's unconscionable. And you know what, America? It's time for you to say absolutely no. No immigration until our borders are verifiably sealed and all illegals have registered. After that, we can have discussions. Prior to that, it's a non-starter. We don't even set the table. Call your senators right now. Call your House member right now and let them know. Use that phrase, no immigration until the borders are verifiably sealed and all illegals have registered under a window, an amnesty window, or whatever you want to call it. Then we can have any discussion you want. We'll be back in just a moment. When we come back, we're going to talk about what Obama did to the Catholics yesterday.
The Battery Station in West Plains is your headquarters for getting and being prepared. Natural disasters, civil unrest, personal and family protection, long-term sustenance, and most importantly, peace of mind. Berkey bottles and home-sized water purification systems, survival food, MREs, freeze-dried food, survival knives, lanterns, ammunition, military sleep system, and of course, batteries of all shapes and sizes. Take charge of your own survival and security. The Battery Station, 303 Washington and West Plains, 417-257-7799 or batterystation.com.
If you're looking for great deals on iPads or Kindles, look no further than your neighborhood Radio Shack authorized sales center. They've got great deals on the latest iPads and Kindles. Maybe you need a new GPS or an MP3 player to get your music library ready for those barbecues. Whatever your electronic needs, stop by your local neighborhood Radio Shack authorized dealer in West Plains at 1408 Southern Hills Shopping Center or call 417-256-1819.
You know, the treason is so fast and furious these days that I've got to break the show into 15-minute segments, and I still can't cover all that just happened in the last 12 hours. In other words, I can dedicate 15 minutes to each of these treasonous behaviors, and I still can't cover all of it. Obama came out yesterday and stunned and infuriated the Catholic community by stating that Catholic education and Protestant education create divisions or encourage division, and that's not a good thing. You've got to be kidding me. He undermines the Catholic schools, and this is a war for America and their religious freedom. I don't care what religion you are, but if you're going to try and tell me that Catholic and Protestant and private schools encourage division while you completely ignore the massive wart on the witch's nose of the madrasa, you and I have nothing further to talk about. Fobama is an Islamic terrorist within the United States sitting on the seat of power. Yes, he is. He is not an American citizen. If he's not a secret Islamic, he certainly agrees with their philosophies. He could call himself a Christian, but I sincerely doubt that he is, and he certainly doesn't act like one. And if you remember from your Sunday school education, you can tell a Christian not by his mouth, but by his walk. Right? So here's a guy who's doing everything in his power to utterly destroy religious freedoms and foundations in our nation. Here's a guy who's demanding that Catholics and Christians pay for abortion, which they don't believe in. I mean, he doesn't act like a Christian. He spies on us. He lies to us. He cuts secret deals that are against our best interest behind our backs. He works actively to hide the truth from us under all kinds of executive privilege. He's attempting to dismantle and undermine the church and religion in the United States of America. And I have to tell you that our founders were abundantly clear on this point. The Constitution, and this is their thinking, not mine, they were far wiser, far more insightful than I could ever be. And they made it abundantly clear that this Constitution and this republic that they'd created was designed and intended to be operated and run by moral and religious men and women. Why? Because in order for a republic to work, people have to have ethics and morals. And religion, regardless of whatever brand it carries, other than Islamics, other than Muslim, and even there, to some extent, there is a level of ethics and morality in their religion, but it's treated more like a fake than more for paper value than it is for real intrinsic heart value. But our founders knew right up front that you could not run a republic where the best interests of the people were always in your hands, and those decisions that you make have to be done with that guardianship, and it has to be done in a moral and ethical way that has integrity, and that religion, all religions for the most part, develop that in people. It gives them boundaries. It gives them a moral code. And they very clearly stated that a nation without religion would fail. Well, the proof's right in front of us, folks. Their worst fears are coming true. He made this speech. I mean, talk about stupid. He made this speech in Northern Ireland. I mean, talk about walking into the enemy's camp and declaring them invalidated. If it wasn't for the 8-inch thick bulletproof glass around the guy, they probably would have popped him. If towns remain divided, if Catholics have their schools and buildings and Protestants have theirs, if we can't see ourselves in one another and fear or resentment are allowed to harden, that too encourages division and discourages cooperation. You'll note that he singled out Catholics and Protestant schools and not Islamic schools and madrasas. Now, I get it. He was in Northern Ireland where this has been the Catholic Protestant thing's been going on for a long time. That's not the point. The point is that he absolutely hates the principles that religious people bear because he wants to operate without them. His goal is to always operate with no boundaries. And religion subscribes boundaries. He doesn't want boundaries. He doesn't want you to impose boundaries upon him. He doesn't want boundaries. And he hates the fact that your integrity and your honor and your ethics and your morals stand in the way of his accomplishing his agenda, his goals, which are the utter and unmitigated destruction of the United States of America from the inside out. Mark my words. Let's just put this into perspective. I want you to just close your eyes for a moment, unless you're driving, and here's the mental picture. There's a horde of evil people with evil intent. And they're outside of this massive, huge, strong gate. And no matter what weapons they throw against that gate, they cannot get through. They've tried bombing it. They've tried striking it. They've tried prying it. They've tried tweaking it. They cannot break through this massive gate. On the other side of the gate is this republic. On the other side of the gate, there is righteousness, honor, integrity, ethics, morals. the opposite of evil. And evil wants to get in there where they can flourish and dine. We are the gatekeeper that is preventing evil from overrunning the planet. Mark my words and make no mistake about it. The United States of America and this Constitution and the Bill of Rights that we live by have been the gatekeeper preventing evil from overrunning the entire world. They've got footholds everywhere. They've got enemy encampments all over the planet. This is where the one pillar is that holds up the roof of the world for liberty and freedom. And they need to get through the gate and attack that pillar. And along comes Obama. And he was snuck in. And he is going to open the gates from the inside. The ultimate betrayal. He is going to unlock the gate from the inside. When those gates open, the United States of America, the great and shining pillar of freedom and liberty, will be brought to its knees in utter destruction and desolation. And evil will be rampant. That is his motive. That is his role. And nothing is sacred. Not your religion, not your speech, not your security in your homes and in your persons and effects, not your guns, not your right to a trial by jury, not your freedom, not your other representative governments. Nothing is safe from this tyrant, this evil, evil man. I stress the word man because he is no God, as much as he'd like to tout himself as that. We have seen where he has portrayed himself as all-knowing, all-seeing, all-powerful. He's attempting to do that right now. He wants to see all of your effects, all of your information, have all knowledge about you. He wants to be omnipotent. He wants to be omnipresent. He wants to be omniscient. He's held back by the fact that there are boundaries even for him. So what does he do? He tries to break down the boundaries. And to achieve that, he's working against one area that has always given him strong opposition, the church, because there is moral fiber, there is strength in numbers, there is coordinated effort, there is union, there is integrity and honor, and ethics. And those are all things he stands against. You're listening to America's Voice. We'll be back in just a moment.
Fox News Radio, I'm Lillian Wu. The Taliban wants to use a captive U.S. soldier as a bargaining chip.
In an exclusive phone call with the Associated Press, the Taliban spokesman says before they start talking with the U.S., they want to strike a deal. They'll hand over Bo Bergdahl, but in return, they want 5 of their senior operatives released from Guantanamo Bay.
Fox Radio's Emily Wither. The actor who played the iconic Tony Soprano on the HBO hit The Sopranos has died. James Gandolfini apparently suffered a heart attack while on vacation in Italy. He was 51. And when it came to catching a falling baby, the apple didn't fall far from the tree. New York Yankees manager Joe Torre's daughter, Christina Torre, saved a child who fell from a Brooklyn fire escape. The ex-manager saying,
she was riding her bike, and she got off and went over there, and sure enough, there was a baby, and, she caught the baby.
Child in stable condition. Fox News. We report, you decide.
Visit our outstanding sponsors, West Plains Pawn, located on Route 160, about a mile past Walmart on the right-hand side. West Plains Pawn can be found on the web at westplainspawn.com. You can also reach them via telephone at 417-256-3000. The battery station at 303 Washington Avenue, right off the square in West Plains. They can be reached via telephone at 417-257-7799. They can also be found on the web at batterystation.com. My friends at Ozark Mountain Self-Reliance. Brian can be reached at 870-492-4030, and he's located at 3225 Route 62, 1/2 mile east of Walmart in Mountain Home. Make sure that you visit our friends over at Pizza Hut on Porter Wagoner Boulevard in West Plains. They have an outstanding lunch special buffet. You can have salad as well as pizza and other pasta, so you can have something tasty and something healthy. Bill Stone over at Stone Construction at 2930116. Bill Stone does remodeling, custom and new construction, light commercial, farm work, pretty much the gamut. If you're interested in doing some kind of a new project, make sure that you give Bill Stone at Stone Construction an opportunity to bid on that job. And my dear friend, Mary, over at Chantilly's Artisan Bakery, number 2 Evans Arcade, right off the square in West Plains. She can be reached via telephone at 255-2253. She's got the best damn bakery in 100 miles. And thanks so much to our phone line sponsor, Jason over at Wits End Classic Barbershop. You can call us on the Wits End Classic Barbershop hotline. He is on the square in West Plains. Excellent opportunity for you to get your hair cut. Get over there and visit. America's Voice Now, delivering truth over mainstream propaganda every single day. Hi, my name is Michael Evans, and I'm your host, Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. and 8 p.m., and Saturday morning from 6 to 9 a.m. Join me daily for important guests and my unique slant on hot topics in the news. Visit americasvoicenow.org for even more news, articles, and commentary, and watch our show streaming live to your PC. Share your morning with me. Get educated, informed, motivated, and activated. America's Voice Now, right here on 107.1.
Weather sponsorships are now available on News Talk 107.1 The Point. Get more information, email info@diamondmediaradio.com for complete details.
From the Point Weather Center, for this morning, we'll have a clear to partly cloudy sky, mostly sunny through the day with a high of 86. It'll be partly cloudy tonight, low 66. Sunshine for tomorrow, high 88. Both Saturday and Sunday will be mostly sunny, high each day this week at 90. I'm meteorologist Jim Rinaldi, and for more information, visit my1071thepoint.com.
Coast to Coast AM brings the Ozarks a whole new feel for radio. Midnight to 6 a.m. every night here on the Ozarks Best News Talk 107.1 The Point. Where else would you get callers talking about everything from UFOs to war trends, from mental energy to anomalies, and from lost knowledge to aliens? Listen to experts and researchers who are part of the guest list every night here on the Ozarks Best News Talk. Don't miss Coast to Coast AM with George Norrie. Midnight to 6 a.m. every night here on the Ozarks Best News Talk 107.1 The Point.
Mayo Clinic has released a study that is terrifying in its scope. 70% of Americans are on prescription drugs. 70%. Second most common prescription? Antidepressants. I'm not talking here about heart medication, diabetes medicines. Second most common, antidepressants. Third most common, opioids. We've become a nation of drug addicts and apathetic losers who will sleep right through the descent into tyranny. 70% are on at least one prescription drug, and more than half are on two or more. Ladies and gentlemen, that's not stunning. That should be sobering to you. 70% of America takes prescription drugs. And more, at least one. And more than 50% take two or more. You know, I understand when you're talking about chronic conditions. But the second most common prescription was for antidepressants. 1 in 4 women between 50 and 64 were found to be on an antidepressant. 13% of the overall population, and that includes children, are on antidepressants that we know of. That is inconceivable. Are you trying to tell me that 13% of our entire population, and I'm willing to bet that you could take most of the seniors out of that category, 13% of our population is so depressed they need a pill to keep them from being a danger to themselves or others, or just to get through the day? You've got to be flipping kidding me. I don't buy it. And you know why I don't buy it? Because prescription drug sales in the United States generated $250 billion in 2009 alone, and is 12% of the total health care cost in the United States of America. What that tells us is that drugs is such big business, and there's so much money in it, that these drug companies will stop at nothing to convince Americans that they need these antidepressants. First of all, they're very cheap to produce. And they have a limited period in which to sell them before they become open marketplace. Have you noticed that commercials all over the place for every other product always seem to now have the tagline at the bottom that comes with all antidepressants, may cause suicidal thoughts, ... That's because pain medications, medications for anti-arthritis, for joint issues, they're all loaded with antidepressants also. Those for chronic injuries are being backfilled with antidepressants. Why? That's not your problem. Your problem is you've got a joint problem, not a mental problem. According to the CDC, the percent of persons using at least one prescription drug in the past month increased by nearly 50% between 2007 and 2010. That, ladies and gentlemen, is stunning. If you are on antidepressants because you can't cope with the reality of the world, and I get it, it's an awful place to be right now. If you're awake and aware, it's a frightening place to be. But wouldn't you rather face your fear head on than pull the covers up over your head knowing there's an intruder in your room at night with the lights off? Are you going to just pull the sheet up over your face so you don't see while he's ready to stab you to death? Or are you at least going to be prepared to go down fighting? That's my question to you. Are you going to cower in fear, which is why you're taking the antidepressant? Because I get it, that you get it. The nation's coming apart at the seams. Our society is being torn apart. Our children are being stolen from us. Their education is being taken away from us. Their morals and ethics aren't allowed to be taught at home anymore. Our government betrays us. They tax the living heck out of us. I get it. They steal our rights and our liberties away from us that weren't given to us by government, but were given to us by God. Were given to us by nature. Were given to us by nature's law. And it's a sad state of affairs. Believe me, I understand. But that's no reason to cower in fear and have and stand paralyzed by your fear. I would rather face my enemy head on, prepared and ready to defend myself, than to stand there like a sheep awaiting slaughter. And if you're on an antidepressant, that's exactly what you have become. I don't buy that your problems are so insurmountable you can't take them. I don't think if everybody got off of antidepressants that suddenly, 13% of America is going to go and jump off of a building or a high bridge or commit suicide? I don't buy it. I don't buy it. And I don't think you're happier for taking them. Has it really solved your problem? Or is it just hiding another, or is it just, and probably it's not even covering the symptom of the real disease here. The real disease here is our entire society and everything that we've known, everything we grew up with, everything we believe in, everything we've been taught all of our lives has value, has suddenly lost value. That, ladies and gentlemen, is the real problem. It's not that your marriage is in a shambles. It's not that your kids are dope addicts and making meth out in the woods. Your marriage is in a shambles because our society is destroyed. Your kids are out there smoking meth in the woods because our society is coming apart and they got nothing to look forward to. You can thank our government for giving them that failure to see a positive future. And you can thank yourself for allowing it to happen. But that's no reason to take antidepressants. That's a reason to turn around and correct the problem. I'm no doctor. I'm not going to stand here and say everybody shouldn't be on them. I'm sure there are some people that ought to be. I'm willing to bet you're not one of them. I've told you guys before that Kevin down at the battery station has this stuff that flushes that junk out of your system. And you should never just drop those things because when you drop off and you go cold turkey off of these high dosages of that, that's when you really get schizoid. And I'll tell you why. They're rewiring your brain with that crap. And you can't just snip the cord. So don't do that. But you can cut that in half. And then in a week and a half or 2 weeks, cut it in half again. And then cut it again, and cut it again, and cut it again, and cut it again. And then you can call Kevin down at the battery station at 257-7799 and ask him about that I don't know what it is. It's I don't know what to call it. It flushes it out of your system quicker and helps restore your balance of your wiring, frankly. We'll be back in just a second.
The battery station in West Plains is your headquarters for getting and being prepared. Natural disasters, civil unrest, personal and family protection, long-term sustenance, and most importantly, peace of mind. Berkey bottles and home-sized water purification systems, survival food, MREs, freeze-dried food, survival knives, lanterns, ammunition, military sleep system, and of course, batteries of all shapes and sizes. Take charge of your own survival and security. The battery station, 303 Washington in West Plains, 417-257-7799 or batterystation.com.
At Missouri State University West Plains, students are finding new beginnings and endless possibilities.
Hi, I'm Anna Cantrell, and I'm a student at Missouri State West Plains. This university has amazing faculty and staff, and because of the A+ program, I'm going to be able to graduate debt-free. I couldn't be happier with my choice.
Call Missouri State West Plains today to find out how we can help you achieve your educational goals. Registration is going on now, 255-7255. Or check us out on the web, wp.missouristate.edu.
I saw a penguin fly out of a U.S. Cellular store with a new Samsung Galaxy smartphone. Sounds crazy, but U.S. Cellular's offering $100 off a new Samsung Galaxy phone. If that's crazy, I'm a loon.
Switch to U.S. Cellular and say hello to the Galaxy S4 for only $99.99 or the Samsung Galaxy S3 for free. U.S. Cellular. Hello better. After $100 mail-in rebate that comes as a MasterCard debit card, applicable data plan required, new 2-year agreement, and $35 device activation fee may apply. Certain restrictions apply. See store for details.
I had this illness that really made me powerless over alcohol and that insisted that I got drunk. And so I got drunk. It doesn't have anything to do with trying to control it. An alcoholic who picks up the first drink will pick up the second drink. I can't say to anyone, no, don't drink. But I can say that when you decide you don't want to drink, come to AA. The door to AA is always open. Alcoholics Anonymous. It works. Look us up. Check your phone book, newspaper, or AA.org.
Make sure that you see our friends down at the battery station. Kevin, just when you get a hold of him, just call him, or when you go in there, ask him about that product that will flush your system of these antidepressants. Because I'm telling you, America, it is what is making you want to stay asleep. And now we need everyone awake. We need every hand on deck. Battle stations, people. Our nation's falling down. The enemy has broken through the gates. The barbarians are through the gate, and they're eating our children. Wake up. Get that junk out of your system. If you're on opioids, stop. Wean yourself off. Break it cold turkey. I don't care. Just get off. You can get a hold of Kevin down at the battery station, 257-7799 or 303 Washington Avenue in West Plains. Ask him about that flush. It will clear the opioids. It'll clear the antidepressants. It'll clear the noxious medications and the toxic medication you're putting into your body out of your system. Go find our friends over at Spring Creek Beef. They have naturally grass-fed animals from start to finish, no grain, no antibiotics, no hormones. It's springcreekbeef.com. And they're right in Pottersville, but they ship around the nation. And they ship in like a styrofoam carton with dry ice. So you'll have, and I'll tell you what, this is restaurant-grade quality beef. It's very, very good. West Plains Pawn, 256-3000. Highway 160, 400 guns. If you want to find a great gun, that's where you go. Mary over at Chantilly's, make sure that you see her. She is the best damn bakery in 100 miles, and you will not be disappointed. Pizza Hut down on Porter Wagoner. Tuesdays are family night. Under 12 is free. Ask for Bree. She'll be happy to take care of you. Stone Construction. Bill Stone is one of the best contractors around here. 2930116. Get a hold of Bill if you're doing any kind of construction work or add-on or any kind of small project, large project, commercial, residential, farm work. Doesn't matter. Wits End Classic Barbershop sponsors our phone lines. Jason's over on the square. $10 haircut. Can't beat it. About to open a brand new unit over there where they're going to have a kind of like a club where you can keep some cigars and your pipes and your a bottle of your favorite liquor over there, and you can go in and have a cigar and a glass of scotch or a glass of wine and so forth and so on. Make sure you ask Jason over at Wits End Barbershop about that. And my last discussion is about Ozark Mountain Self-Reliance. You know, they've been a sponsor of our program for a long time. We recently in fact, we just finished a website for them and lit it up yesterday. So Ozark Mountain Self-Reliance, you can go to their website at I want you to write this new address down because this is where the brand new site is. It's at Ozark Survival Gear, ozarksurvivalgear.com. When you go there, there are about 1,000 products that they have online. They've got everything from camping gear, survival gear, emergency preparedness, water purification, emergency essentials. They've got long-term food from Alpine Air, Harveston Farms, Mountain House Foods, Noah's Pantry, and Wise Foods. If you want to buy buckets, they've got the buckets. They've got the cans. They've got grinders for grain. They've got knives, and they've got essential oils. By the way, that's another great product for you. They've got alternative food preparation products, including food processing equipment, so that you can process your own. They have health products that cover a ton of different issues, whether it's first aid or it's health products like Living Clay, Miracle 2, Silver Miracles, Thomas Labs products, which is antibiotics, fish antibiotics, and I'll leave that one alone because I got to be careful what I say about that. Water purification and filtration. They carry Berkey products and Life Straw and Katahdin and a host of others. Make sure that you get over there to see their brand new website. It's Ozark Survival Gear. Ozark Survival Gear. And Brian and Jared are friends of ours, and I want to make sure that you have an opportunity to see what they've got. Make sure that you patronize our sponsors. And there is a couple of things on here that you'll find valuable. One is if you scroll down towards the bottom of the index page, there's a checklist there. It says gather food for emergencies. And then there's a read more section. And there are some links on there where you can go and find different checklists for emergency survival. And just whether it's natural disaster or man-made. In this case, I think we got to worry almost more about man-made than natural. But in any event, the planning is the same. And there's links on there from the American Red Cross and that kind of thing. Make sure that you get those and prepare your family and yourself for situations that are outside of your control. And boy, are there ever a lot of those. So anyway, I'd like to encourage you to go visit our friends, ozarksurvivalgear.com, and make sure that you patronize them. You know, as we get towards the tail end of the month here, I've been mentioning to you that Greg McLaughlin from Black Ops School of Combat has this concealed carry class on the 29th. I also want you to know that he teaches tactical shooting courses, whether those are like a tactical shooting course for pistol craft or whether it's for self-loading rifle like AR-15 or any kind of semi-automatic rifle, shotgun tactic shooting. And I want you to give him a call because you and your family or you and your close friends, you and your circle of influence should be working towards making sure that you have skills and education and that your preparations and your on self-reliance and self-sufficiency are complete with firearms training. Make no mistake about it that firearms training is one of the most effective ways that you can take care and defend yourself and your family and take care of that preparation that you've been building. So I want you to call Greg because even if you don't want to take this concealed carry course or you can't make that day, he's got a whole series of courses that you can take. You can find them on the web at blackopscc.com. schoolofcombat.com. That's Black Ops, OPS, schoolofcombat.com. Or you can give them a call at 255-1612. Now, the important part is that you're getting training. But what I would encourage you to do is go onto his website. If you don't have internet access, just give him a call, 255-1612. I want you to make sure that you are talking to him and saying, I've got a group of 5 or 7 or 10 of us in our family, and we want to get some training. What kind of a custom program can you put together for us? Here's what our skill set is. Here's what we don't know. Here's what we'd like to know. And ask him to compile a custom plan for you to give you the type of training that is going to be required of you as we move forward into uncertainty. That's exactly right. As we move forward into a world of uncertainty, and the only thing I'm certain about is that things aren't going to get better, folks. That's the only thing I'm certain about. And I can tell you right now that if you are not taking and educating your family and yourselves and your close circle of influence, then you're making a serious mistake. You're being deleterious about one area that you really absolutely cannot afford to do, and that is self-defense of your home, your family, your children, your parents, your brothers, your sisters, your sons, your daughters, your fathers, and your mothers. Now's the time, folks. 255-1612. Ask for Greg McLaughlin, or you can go to blackopsschoolofcombat.com. Okay, we are at a point, I guess, people, where when you look at what's going on in our nation, immigration's going the wrong way. Religious destruction, as long as it's not Islamic, is on the rise, and touted, promoted, incentivized by this tyrant, Fobama, who calls himself an American citizen but is anything but. He's determined to beat religion down and get it out of his way so that he can unlock the gates from the inside and allow evil to pour through in a torrent. And they're fostering prescriptions on people to keep them asleep. They are pushing immigration in here to unbalance the scales, to change the balance of power. They are monitoring and surveilling you. If all of this stuff doesn't mean something to you, if you don't step back and look at this in its totality and realize the critical danger that we are in as a nation, I just can't understand how you cannot. I mean, if you're standing there on the street and you see a tidal wave coming at you from 1,000 yards away, and you see a herd of wild lions coming at you from the other side, and they are all slavering and salivating, waiting to bite into your juicy body. And from the other side, there are a series of 10 buses that are racing at you at 100 miles an hour with the impossibility of being able to stop. And you turn around, and from the fourth direction is coming at you a series of soldiers with weapons lowered, pointed directly at you. And you don't feel fear at this point, you're dead. That's where we are, people. Everywhere you turn, the enemy is advancing. Some slow, some fast. But there isn't a single direction that you can turn where the advancement is not on for your destruction and your demise. They're stealing your money. They've stolen your rights. They're stealing your children. And they're turning around and using each and every one of those facets that they've stolen from you against you. It's time to wake up, America. It's time to wake up quick. You don't have the luxury of laying there groggy and rubbing your eyes. Up and at 'em, boots on. You're listening to America's Voice. You can find us at americasvoicenow.org. Find us on Facebook at facebook.com/America's Voice Now, and this and every other program that we do at youtube.com/America's Voice Now. Remember, for the triumph of evil, there's only one thing necessary. That is for good men to do nothing.
We are the Ozarks' best news talk, KBMV Birch